Hello guys, in this video I will do my best to explain what Genshin Impact is aside from hot anime girls, and how to progress through the game easily. Genshin can be tedious and annoying when you first start since there isn't a lot to do when you first play, and Hoyo, the creators of Genshin, don't explain well the mechanics and how important they are to progress. Without any knowledge of some mechanics, it can take ages to reach the fun part of the game. What is Genshin? Genshin is an open-world RPG with beautiful landscapes and locations to explore, unique enemies to fight, and intricate puzzles to solve. And with new nations coming out every year, there's always new ground to explore. The game receives updates on an almost bi-monthly basis, making sure there's always new content with fun and unique mini-games in the form of events where you get to meet characters outside the story and interact with them. Elemental reactions. At the moment, Genshin has 7 total elements: Pyro, Hydro, Anemo, Electro, Dendro, Cryo, and Geo. When an entity comes in contact with any of these elements, they have that element applied by them. This is shown by the symbol on top of its health bar. When an entity has an element applied to it, it will also receive a debuff based on that element. When 2 compatible elements come in contact with each other, or if the entity is applied another element that is compatible with the one it previously had, an elemental reaction will be produced, dealing extra damage or generating crystals/cores. More about them later. Elemental reactions usually multiply the damage of the attack that triggered them or the attack that applied the last element of the reaction, and because they only multiply the damage of the entity that triggered it, you can use a character without weapon or artifacts to apply an element on an enemy and still give a huge damage increase to another character. Though elemental reactions might sound simple at first, they get a little bit more complicated when Anemo, Geo, or Dendro are involved. But once you learn them, you will realize that they're actually very simple. Before diving into advanced reactions, you have to understand what PHC is. PHC comes from Pyro, Hydro, Electro, and Cryo. They are the main 4 elements and the only ones that Geo, Anemo, and Dendro can interact with, making them very important in the meta of the game. Swirl. When Anemo comes into contact with one of the PHC elements, it will swirl it, spreading the element it reacted with and dealing elemental damage of the PHC element swirled. Crystallize. When Geo interacts with another element, it triggers Crystallize and generates a Geo-crystallized shard that will despawn if it's not picked up by the player. When the player picks up a shard, the shard disappears and gives the player a shield based on the PHC element Geo interacted with. The shield will absorb all damage of the element it interacted with up to a certain limit that varies depending on elemental mastery. Dendro reactions. Dendro is the newest element in Genshin Impact, and Hoyo couldn't make it have normal reactions, so instead, they made it have complicated but op reactions. Dendro has special reactions with most PHC elements except for Cryo, and these are: Burning. The entity applied with Dendro and Pyro has its Dendro removed, triggering the burning reaction and giving the target a burning aura, which makes it receive damage over time and extends the duration of the Pyro applied so it can be used in other reactions. Quicken. When Electro interacts with Dendro, it gives the target a Quicken aura, which can be used to trigger Aggravate or Spread for extra damage. When an entity with Quicken aura is affected by Dendro, it will trigger Spread and deal extra Dendro damage, and when an entity with Quicken aura is affected by Electro, it will trigger Aggravate, dealing extra Electro damage. Bloom. When Dendro and Hydro come into contact, a Dendro core will be created. If the core isn't affected by Pyro, Hydro, or Electro, it will explode, dealing Dendro damage. But if it comes into contact with one of those elements, one of the following can happen. Burgeon. When the Dendro core is applied Pyro, it will explode on the spot, dealing extra Pyro damage. Hyperbloom. When the Dendro core is applied Electro, it will quickly home to the nearest non-player entity and deal extra Electro damage. When you play through the Genshin story, you will soon realize that you can't progress it without getting to a certain adventure rank. To obtain AR XP, you have to explore Teyvat, open chest, and complete domains. First, you'll have to explore the world and obtain some initial AR levels. During this period, I suggest going to Sumeru and unlocking a statue of the Seven there. That way you can unlock the Dendro Traveler and use the best reactions in the game. Once you get some levels, you will unlock weapon domains. In these domains, you can consume resin, which refreshes daily, and obtain AR XP and weapon materials used to ascend weapons. This is the fastest and easiest method of obtaining AR XP, as these domains are easy if you know basic reactions.
不死で死に対抗し、私の力を持って私に抗うか。ルールを否定するか。
After playing through the initial part of the story, you will be faced with a huge amount of grind to keep playing the story and progress the game. This can lead to burnout and boredom. To fight it, you can watch fun videos about Genshin Impact and generate motivation to play the game and progress. Personally, I suggest watching channels like Toronto, Anthony Chen, and It's Bacon.